Good morning. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you on this 13th of December 2022. It's a Tuesday. Para sa inyong mga superstitious, ang pangkontra lang sa number 13, dasal. Okay? So let's get on with the day and let's start with our daily starter because marami-rami po ang usapan mamaya. We will be talking about kaso imported. I will leave you hanging with that. Anyway, let's start with the daily starter from Mandy Hale, and it goes, happiness is letting go of what you think your life is supposed to look like and celebrating it for everything that it is. Okay, many of us have notions, impressions, or illusions of what our lives or who we are supposed to be in life. And in many occasions, or in some cases, other people impose those illusions or impressions of what our life is supposed to be. But as Mandy Hale put it, celebrate it for everything that it is, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a lawyer, whether you are a driver, or you are a business person, celebrate mo yung buhay mo at kung ano yung ginagawa mo. And don't be overly focused on what you could be or what you think you should be. Okay, so that's our starter for the day. And of course, as we always do, we want to include in the daily starter our gratitude. Pasasalamat sa inyo na mga viewers, subscribers of Cignal TV, and of course, those who follow Agenda on Facebook and YouTube. Gratitude will always be a part of the motto of Agenda, and we thank all of you, especially those abroad who try to catch us on Facebook and YouTube, and of course, those who also watch us on Cignal TV when we replay in the afternoons. And thank you to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. Nandito pa rin po ako sa Lipa, Batangas. As you can see with my background, it is not a virtual background. It is a real life background. Okay, live po yan. Anyway, let's move forward. And let's go to the news on the front page of the Philippine Star. And today, December 13, 2022, the headline of the Philippine Star is Marcos on Maharlika. We need the investments. Okay, President Bongbong Marcos meeting with Philippine media emphasized that the country needs all the investments it can get, and he believes that the Maharlika Investment Fund, binago na po, hindi na raw po Maharlika Sovereign Wealth Fund, Maharlika Investment Fund, is an instrument that will attract foreign investors. And he also suggested that we all wait. Quiet na tayong lahat. Let's wait until the final version is written by Congress because mauubos ang oras kakadebate tapos yung palang pinag-aawayan nyo or the points that we are debating over was actually removed, erased, or deleted. Sabi ko nga baka naman may mga sinaksak dyan for future deletion as a bargaining chip. But that's a different discussion. At the top of the front page, the headers, 2 years in jail and 300,000 fine for SIM violators. Ayan po, no? Yan na po ang provision of the law regarding Filipinos who will falsify information or fake their identities to register subscriber identity module or SIM cards because they will be penalized with up to 2 years in prison and as much as 300,000 peso fine. So, kung nagbabalak kayo na mag-multiple SIM and you will create fake identities, make sure whatever reason you have is worth it because 2 years in jail and sabi, hindi mangyayari yan. Marami na pong nasampulan sa iba't ibang batas sa Pilipinas. Our justice system may not be ideal, but people do end up in jail. Okay, now let's go further down. The AFP vows West Philippine Sea patrols amid China boat swarm. Okay, reacting to reports from the Information Working Group of the National Task Force on WPS, the AFP said it remains ready to act as directed by the Commander-in-Chief regarding protecting the West Philippine Sea. Okay. Meanwhile, to the right of the top of the front page, we have a photo of President Bongbong Marcos and First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos going down the Philippine Airlines plane that brought them to Brussels, Belgium, where Philippines will be will be represented by the President on the EU-ASEAN summit there. Philippines working to comply with EU standards for seafarers. Ayun po, napag-usapan. On board PR001, the Philippines is working to comply with the EU standards on the education, training, and certification of seafarers to avoid putting Filipino sea-based workers in a bad place, according to President Marcos. Okay. Meanwhile, still no U.S. request for Quiboloy extradition, according to the Department of Justice. That will be our topic for today. We will try to understand what is this U.S. claim or charges or indictment or whatever. Hindi pa naman yata na-indict. Kumbaga, binablock propaganda daw, sabi ni Quiboloy. Okay, regarding Pastor Quiboloy. Okay, meanwhile, sugar supply stable but prices remain high. Kayo naman, bago ba yan? Pag tumaas ang presyo, parang lobo, mahirap ng pababain sa lupa. Pag bumigat na lang at nawala na yung helium, doon na lang bababa yung lobo. Parang asukal, ganun din yan. The center photo of the Philippine Star, workers set up lights for the Christmas installation around the UP Oblation, okay, in Diliman, Quezon City. Palagay ko, hindi ako nagkakamali, baka itong linggo gawin nila yung lantern parade unless nabago na yung mga schedule dyan. Because during our time, usually December 19, yan yung lantern parade. Baka mangyari yun this week, we don't know. A bit of sad news, particularly for relatives. Mercedes Gotianum, PhilInvest matriarch, has passed away at the age of 94. Chita, to friends and family, graduated valedictorian in elementary, high school, and from the College of Holy Spirit, was a consistent university scholar and graduated magna cum laude from UP, and she is the co-founder of the PhilInvest Group together with her husband, the late Andrew Gotianum. Our condolences to the family. May her soul rest in peace. Marami naman po siyang nagawa sa buhay, pamarisan po natin. Okay, tropical storm Rosal continues to move away from the country, and though it gained strength yesterday, mukhang hindi na tayo gagambalain. Okay, 2 pieces of good news para naman maganda yung December 30 ninyo. First is the Senate passes the Brownlee Naturalization Bill. Ha? Para may import na legal, di-naturalize nyo. Ganun lang kasimple yun. Sorry po. No? Medyo nagbibiro lang tayo. Okay, photo there. The photo you see is professional basketball player Justin Brownlee posing with Senator Bongo and the Philippine flag after a 21-0 Senate vote approving the bill granting the PBA import Philippine citizenship. Okay. Last but not the least, kumuha na kayo ng drum. Yung mga may kaya sa inyo, bumili na kayo ng malinis na drum. Diesel prices cut by 3 pesos and 40 centavos. Okay? And gas by 1 peso 70 centavos. And kerosene at ano ito? 4.40 per liter. Wala na kasi yata bumibili ng gas. Doon na lang sa probinsya at dito sa aking lugar. Okay, so those are our, that's the coverage of the news of the Philippine Star headline. And now let's go to our subject matter for today. Nasabi ko na sa inyo, yung Quiboloy case. No? Now, if with the indulgence from our guests today, please allow me to just read quickly background kasi marami pong dinidiscuss itong topic na ito pero hindi nagagawa yung pasakali or laying down what it is. Okay? The US imposed sanctions against religious leader Apollo Quiboloy, who is also included in its most wanted list over what it called serious human rights violation. His designation in that list was pursuant to an executive order implementing the U.S. Global Magnitsky Act amid his alleged involvement in the sex trafficking of young girls within his religious group. The US Treasury Department accused Quiboloy of engaging in a pattern of systemic and pervasive rape of girls as young as 11 years old, as well as other physical abuse for more than a decade. The Filipino pastor was indicted in November 2021 for conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, and sex trafficking of children, and is currently on the FBI's wanted list. Okay, now, Quiboloy denied being a human rights abuser as claimed by the U.S. government, which imposed financial sanctions against him for alleged serious human rights abuse. Quote, "I am not a human rights abuser. It is my human rights that have been abused," Quiboloy said last Monday. Okay, he lamented that he had been tarred and feathered in the face of the whole world before even going to trial. Okay, so let's now tackle the subject matter. For those of you who, like me, don't know about these legal proceedings, these transnational issues, let's bring in our two guests this morning. They are veterans and experts in many aspects of law and international issues. Gabriel, roll out the Betamax.
Atty. Domingo Cayosa is an accomplished corporate and litigation lawyer in the country. He previously served as president of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines from 2019 to 2021. In 2020, Cayosa was appointed to the Executive Committee of Law Asia, a law association for Asia and the Pacific. Arlene Brosas has been the representative of Gabriela party list since the 17th Congress. She is also an assistant minority leader in the 19th Congress. Prior to her political career, Brosas used to teach in the University of the Philippines in Baguio and Manila.
Okay, good morning Congresswoman Brosas and Attorney Cayosa. Magandang umaga, sir.
Morning.
Morning, Cito.
Okay, it's a free-for-all. So I think ladies first, ika nga nila, but more than polite conversation, Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, I read a few articles wherein you were directly quoted and mukhang it would seem that you are the only legislator who openly spoke about this case and who pointed out the need for the Philippine government and the DOJ to act on the matter.
Yes, Cito, as you know, kino-commemorate natin yung International Day Against Trafficking. Yesterday, kasi yun yung end ng ating 18-day celebration of activism campaign versus gender-based violence. And bilang isa po sa mga party list, the sole party list of women in Congress right now, it is our duty, no, na ipagtanggol ang ating mga kababaihan at bata laban sa abuso. So in this case, alam naman po natin, kanina nga binasa niyo yung background eh. So ibig sabihin may indictment talaga itong si Pastor Quiboloy noong 2021 pa. And in fact, ang nag-iimbestiga po sa kanya ay ongoing yung investigation, particularly kahit sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ niya. It is being led by the FBI and receiving substantial assistance from the Homeland Security Investigation, sa US Citizenship and Immigration Service Fraud Detection and National Security Unit sa US Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service, ganun din sa IRS Criminal Investigation. Malinaw po yung ating sinasabi, kung sa US they are doing this in the interest, no, na mabigyan ng justice ang mga victims, bakit dito sa Pilipinas hindi natin yun magawa? Yun po actually yung nagko-compel sa amin na dapat manawagan talaga ang lahat at malaman natin yung totoo dito, no, na maimbestigahan itong nangyayari na ito, na in fact ang tawag po namin dito heinous crimes eh. Kasi it is committed against the most vulnerable women and children natin. Kumbaga sinasamantala ng nasa kapangyarihan, inaabuso niya yung kapangyarihan niya sa sitwasyon kung saan ang mga biktima ay kababaihan at bata. But apparently, naalala niyo po, tinanong din ako niya ng 2021 or 2020, I think. Tinanong ako kung bakit dito sa Pilipinas ay hindi yan nagagawa. Kasi apparently, na-dismiss yung ilan sa mga cases ng mga dinulog dito sa Pilipinas. Ngayon, naka-apila ito sa Department of Justice, but apparently it is not moving. So kaya ang sabi natin sa mga, kung nababasa niyo po sa mga articles, we are compelling the agencies, different agencies, to actually alamin kung ano yung nangyayari, magbigay ng sapat na tulong sa mga biktima, katulad ng pagbibigay ng witness protection programs, kasi natatakot yung mga tao to come out kasi ang tingin nila dyan, very powerful yung kanilang babanggain. And the reprisal is too much for them. Kaya ganyan yung nangyayari. Ibig sabihin, if we really want or nag-work talaga yung justice system dito sa atin, then we should see more of the victims coming out and saying what really happened to them at kung ano talaga yung naganap sa kanila. Kasi malinaw naman po dun sa mga dagdag ng second indictment noong November 2022, no? Nilagay na doon kung ano yung mga in-outline na doon, kung ano yung ginawa ng KOJC, yung nationwide soliciting operation na nagbigay ng criminal conduct doon nag-include ng forced labor, labor trafficking, document servitude, marriage fraud, and money laundering. So,
Okay.
yun po no? Maraming mga cases yan.
Let's ask Attorney Cayosa. Attorney Cayosa, from yung kumbaga pag-usapan natin yung legal issues, no, yung term na indictment, yung multiple cases, kasi what I remember was the first time this came out, yung sabi nga ni Congresswoman Brosas, yung may nag-file ng kaso pero dinismiss ng piskal, ng prosecutor, sa Davao yata yun. And then yung jet na ginamit nung grupo ni Pastor Quiboloy, dinetain sa US, tapos parang naging issue money laundering dahil may mali-maleta daw ng dollars na nakita. And then napunta naman yun sa documentation issue or illegal alien status yata, fake marriage. Ngayon, ano ba, where do you begin and where do you end with this as a lawyer?
First, we have to distinguish between the criminal cases filed dito sa Pilipinas.
Mm-hmm.
Noong 2020, may nag-file sa Davao for rape, child abuse, sex trafficking. Unfortunately, dinismissed ng city prosecutor. Yan yung nasa DOJ ngayon, up for decision, yung petition for review. So that's Philippine jurisdiction. That's within the control of the Department of Justice. Iba naman yung indictment ng grand jury. This is not an ordinary indictment, Cito, no? At ito nangyari noong November 18, 2021. Grand jury po ito. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito yung Department of Justice ng Amerika o yung mga ordinaryong fiscal. It is a grand jury. At yung grand jury, ginagawa yan for serious offenses.
Mm-hmm.
So, ang grand jury is composed of 23 individuals. Yung parang jury ito sa trial, kaya lang ang grand jury mas malaki. Sila ang nag-iimbestiga at nagde-determine kung meron bang basehan para kasuhan ang isang tao. And they usually do this for syndicated crimes, yung mga serious offenses. Kasi required sa US Constitution, 5th Amendment nila, na hindi ka makakasuhan ng mga seryosong mga serious and grievous crimes kung hindi grand jury. So dumaan sa proseso ito. After investigation, ang finding nung 23-member grand jury sa California.
Sandali, attorney quick question lang. Kasi yung napapanood natin sa TV dito, yung jury system sa Amerika, ang tumitingin sa kaso mo are people na equal mo. A jury of my peers. Kumbaga, katulad ko rin, either journalist o kaya taxpayer, ordinaryong taong katulad ko. Sa grand jury ba, are the people who are invited to be in a grand jury, are they experts? Are they criminal lawyers? Are they tax experts, etc.? Or still ordinary citizens?
Well, ordinary citizen ang nakalagay dyan. Kasi nga, plus of course, may mga nakakaalam din sa So it's a cross-section of society.
Mm-hmm.
So these are unbiased people. Titignan lang yung ebidensya para hindi masabi na ginagamit lang ng gobyerno yung prosecution para itikin. So ang role nila is to investigate or to accuse. But at the same time also, tignan nila na hindi nagagamit yung criminal justice system para gipitin ang sinuman.
Kumbaga, hindi ginamit ng US government para lang habulin si Quiboloy, etc. Okay, now, ano ang kinalabasan doon sa grand jury?
Well, ang finding nila, indictment talaga. 74 pages ito, indictment siya for sex trafficking by force, fraud, coercion, sex trafficking of children, conspiracy, yung promotional money laundering, at iba pa, pati na yung mga fraud in securing mga visas, mga passports. Kasi may nahuli kasi sila, nung renade nila yung opisina nung sekta na ito, may mga nahuli sila mga passport at iba-iba pa, mga dokumento ng fake marriages na ginagamit umano dun sa mga pinapasok nilang mga kabataang babae na initially solicit nila, and then ang aligasyon ng ibang complainant sa kanila, ginagamit sila sa sex.
Okay, ano ba yung ibig sabihin nung salitang indictment? Pasensya na, no? Medyo para a lot of Filipinos get to understand. Kasi pag sinabing indictment, ano na ba yun? Kumbaga, no, found guilty, meron ka naman sentence, etc. What does indictment mean?
Ibig sabihin yan, there is probable cause or prima facie case against you na ginawa mo nga yung mga krimen. May krimen na nangyari at malamang ikaw ang gumawa niyan. Parang dito sa atin sa piskalya, kinasuhan ka sa korte.
Mm-hmm.
May kinasuhan ito. Kaya nga ang nangyari, nung kinasuhan sila sa korte, dapat ngayong 2023 magsimula ang hearing Pero upon the request of 5 of the co-accused ni Pastor Quiboloy, nag-request sila ng additional 1 year to prepare for their defense. So kaya minove back nila yung formal hearing sa 2024 pa. So
2024.
Meron ng charge, meron ng finding of probable.
So lumalabas, hindi na pinagtatalunan ito kasi nasa korte na, Congresswoman. Parang we are talking about the news, but in reality in America, the case is already moving forward.
Yes, actually yun nga po yung sinasabi namin, 2021, 2022, something is happening sa case doon sa US. But then dito sa Pilipinas, parang walang usad. Kaya yan po yung sinasabi natin na kinukumpel natin ang Marcos Jr. administration to do something about it. Kung sa kung sa US nga nagagawa nilang mabigyan ng hustisya, at actually dumulo pa yan sa freezing of assets, 'di ba? Alam po ni attorney yan kasi ang ginamit diyan ay Executive Order number 13818 ng mas matindi pa sa Magnitsky Act. So, meron pang kasunod na ginawang move itong US, no, para talagang makita natin na meron silang pag-usad doon sa kaso. They are freezing, effective yun they are freezing the assets of the religious sect at properties nito sa teritoryo ng US. Sa teritoryo ng US, kasi wala naman yung jurisdiction dito sa Pilipinas Pero dito sa Pilipinas, hindi maimbestigahan ng National Security Council, ng AMLAC, ng mga ahensya natin, kung ano yung mga nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas na ginagawa ni Pastor Quiboloy. So,
okay, but may I ask Congresswoman, and please, I hope you don't take this personally, pero historically, Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate are always ahead of the game, ika nga nila. Pag may ganyang mainit na issue, nauuna pa kayo sa DOJ, nauuna pa kayo sa mga prosecutor, na nagpa-file na kayo ng investigation in aid of legislation. Bakit parang ngayon wala?
Well, alam nyo naman po ang background ni Apollo Quiboloy, siya po ay maraming connect. Yun na lang ang tingin ko dyan, maraming connect sa mga politiko, sa sundalo, sa mga generals, sa police. Kasi even yung pagmamay-ari niya na SMNI, 'di ba, na media outlet, ano pa nga yan na what do you call this? Meron siyang partnership with AFP. So, yung mga nasa likod nitong si Apollo Quiboloy ay dating presidente, si Rodrigo Duterte. Mga ganyan, So, very, very powerful yung behind. Kaya siguro, hindi rin ganun kaagad-agad kumikilos, yung mga politiko. Lalo na kung involved sila, diba?
Okay,
so,
let's go for a quick break. When we come back, pag-usapan natin yung implications or epekto nitong mga charges in the US. Kinasuhan ka nga sa Amerika, may nagsasabi, ay mamamatay na lang kami dito pero hindi kami magagalaw ng Amerika. I remember one politician saying that in the past, okay? We'll go for a quick break and when we return, let's continue the discussion on the merits or points of the case without really getting into the direct issues in court. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program agenda, and with us are Congresswoman Arlene Brosas and Attorney Cayosa, who has been sharing with us, Attorney Domingo Egon Cayosa, former president of the IBP. Attorney, matanong ko lang, pagka ganyang mga indictment, ang dami-daming parang piyesta ng kaso. Lahat yata ng pwedeng ibato, binato na sa kanya. How solid is this? And assuming that he is found guilty in the US in 2028 siguro, meron bang epekto sa buhay ni Pastor Quiboloy or in the Philippines?
Malaki pa rin ang epekto sapagkat under that jurisdiction sa US at ibang bansa, pag kinasuhan ka, halos sigurado na silang pinag-aaralan talaga yan, tinitignan ng mga ebidensya, dino-double check at nagtutulungan ng mga ahensya. Pag yan kinasuhan ka o na-indict ka, halos the probabilities are you will be convicted by the court. But of course, you'll be given due process. So medyo matindi kung ang mga indictment is in the United States or in Japan. Kasi yung track record ng prosecution nila doon, talagang mataas ang kanilang conviction rate. At sila rin, very careful, hindi yan nag-file o nag-indict kung hindi naman malinaw ang mga ebidensya at kumpleto. So, meron pa rin epekto, kahit of course, kung nandito siya sa Pilipinas, hindi siya magagalaw, pero meron tayong extradition treaty with the United States at meron din tayong PD 1069, yung Philippine Law on Extradition. 1977 pa yan. So, maaari at any time, kung nanaisin ng gobyerno ng Amerika na i-request na i-extradite si Pastor Quiboloy sa Amerika, nagsasubmit sila ng extradition request sa Republika ng Pilipinas sapagkat meron naman silang karapatan under the extradition treaty at meron naman talaga tayong batas, presidential decree na nagkikilala at nagbibigay ng mga alituntunin tungkol sa proseso ng pag-extradite upon request of mga countries na meron tayong extradition treaty.
Okay, now we are seeing all those video of Pastor Quiboloy in his, I think it's a jet, I don't know what brand of jet that is, executive jet. So clearly, one thing he cannot do at the moment is go to any US territory. Hindi siya pwedeng pumunta, Congresswoman, sa Guam. Hindi siya pwedeng pumunta sa Solomon Islands yata yun, etc., etc. Pero what if Pastor Quiboloy decides, oh, I want to go to Japan or I want to go to Singapore? Is there a system or treaty agreements that the United States has with other countries where he could actually be arrested quicker and be sent to the US than putting a extradition request in the Philippines? Kasi may mga nagsasabi nga, maghintay ka na ng tambol mayor, hindi makukuha yan dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes, gusto ko lang dagdagan Cito yung kanina, no, yung sa penalties of charges. Seryoso po talaga yon kasi yung sex trafficking conspiracy charge, it carries a statutory maximum penalty of federal prison in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So life yung ano diyan, yung charge diyan. Tapos yung 5 substantive sex trafficking charges each carry a mandatory minimum penalty of 15 years in federal prison and a potential sentence of life. Tapos yung additional fraud, cash smuggling, and money laundering offenses in the indictment carry statutory maximum penalties ranging from 5 to 20 years in federal prison. Ganun po kaseryoso, no, yung mga penalties or sanctions na inaano sa kanya. Now, kaugnay po dun sa actually global Magnitsky, kung gagamitin natin yon, ano, yung sinasabi, yung presidente ng US can deny entry, no, sa US territory. Tama ka doon. Baka itanong natin kay
Attorney
Cayosa yung tungkol sa mga other countries. Ang pwede rin gawin ay ma-revoke yung already issued visa, tapos ma-block yung property. Kaya nga ngayon may freezing of assets na nangyayari within the US jurisdiction. Pwede ding i-prohibit ng US persons from entering into transactions with any foreign person, no? Na dinedetermine ng presidente. So pwede 'yon, no? Pwede niyang sabihin.
Ayun. So anything to do with America, scratch ka na. Okay, now, Attorney Cayosa, paano yung tinatanong ko na, kasi I had a conversation with a politician about something similar many years ago. Sabi ko, pag kayo tumungtong sa ganitong lupa, baka madampot kayo. What are the probabilities that in the case of Pastor Quiboloy, that if he ever needed, sabihin natin, medical treatment sa Singapore or he had to go to Tokyo or something, can the US actually maneuver for them to grab Quiboloy in those countries?
Yes, as long as the United States has extradition treaties or any other treaty that allows that with other countries, pwede sila ring mag-request na pag tumuntong doon, aarestuhin siya at isusurrender sa kanila. And mind you, ang United States ang isa sa mga bansa na pinakamaraming extradition treaties all over the world. So maari yan. Maari din, aside from the extradition treaty, meron kasi yung tinatawag na mutual legal assistance treaties. We also have that in the Philippines. Kasama rin ang United States na involved dyan, na kung saan both parties, yung mga bansang pumirma nito, are obligated to assist in the prosecution, in gathering evidence, protecting the witnesses, securing documents, serving notices, ganyan. So pwede rin nilang i-invoke yan. Pero yung actual na pag-aaresta, usually ang i-invoke nila, magre-request sila ng extradition treaty. At doon sa ibang bansa, mabilis talaga sila, lalong-lalo na kung hindi nila citizen yung aarestuhin. Talagang mabilis sila doon.
Okay, now, Attorney Cayosa, what about, pasensya na kayo, Congresswoman Arlene, Attorney, hindi po talaga ako maalam sa mga bagay nito. Yung ano yung tawag nila doon, Attorney, red notice, yung, kasi FBI put him on the wanted list, put Pastor Quiboloy on the wanted list. I'm assuming that if you are on the FBI wanted list, you are on the Interpol wanted list automatically, or that you could be on the red list na pag lumabas pangalan, di ba may ganon? Pag lumabas ka sa red list, kahit saan sa mundo pwede kang damputin.
Well, that's an administrative arrangement din, no, sa Interpol, sa International Police. So pwede ring i-invoke yan. But then of course, hihintay nila yung warrant of arrest. Sa ngayon kasi indicted sila, yung iba na-aresto na, yung iba nag-bail. Kasi yung mga ibang kasama niya nandun sa United States. So pwede nilang invoke yan, no? Yung mga bilateral or multilateral arrangements or agreements they have with other countries.
Okay, now, Congresswoman Brosas, going back to the Congress, what should the Congress get involved? Kasi ikaw, nagsabi ka na, you've already aired your point that, you know, the DOJ, the Bongbong administration, the Marcos administration should take the lead, etc. But in the event or in the likelihood, sabi nga ng iba, that there will be a dragging of the feet or a, you know, slow process of cooperation, should Congress involve itself in this matter, given that it is involving allegedly rape of children, trafficking, etc.?
Yes, actually dapat po talaga ma-involve yung Congress dito. In fact, kaya natin pinasa yung batas na Republic Act 11862 in place naman po yan yung Expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. Kailangan po meron tayo talagang gawing mga aksyon. Tapos meron tayong anti-rape amendments, 'di ba? Nagkaroon tayo ng amendments to the anti-rape law. Nagkaroon po tayo ng mga pinapasang batas on expanded din na anti-violence against women and children. So marami po tayong mga ganyan. Hindi po pwedeng in paper lang yan. Kailangan po magkaroon talaga ng mga investigations and resolutions. In fact, we are planning, kami po sa Gabriela Women's Party ay nagpaplano na at inaayos ang pagpasa ng House Resolution para po maimbestigahan itong case na ito.
But just because you filed the House resolution or a resolution in Congress, does it mean that it will bear fruit?
Yan po ay malalaman natin, but we are hoping na talagang ma-actionan nito ng leadership, kasi parang na lang yung tingin sa atin kung ganyan na hindi natin ina-actionan yung mga issues na ito, especially kung ito ay abuse on women and children, 'di ba? So definitely dapat lang na i-compel natin ang mga agencies. Actually, sabi ko nga pwede talaga magkaroon ng action in different agencies, like sa National Security Council, like sa AMLAC, like sa Congress, like pwede rin sa Senate if ever, 'di ba? So maraming paraan kung paano talaga maimbestiga. Pwede rin i-compel ng presidente na, 'di ba? Malaman kung ano talaga yung iba't ibang mga ahensya, malaman kung ano ang kailangan ng mga biktima, lalong-lalo na ang DSWD, para tulungan sila.
Who has the burden here, Attorney Cayosa? Kasi it was brought to the city prosecutor in Davao. It was dismissed. And then it's now sitting in the Department of Justice. I don't know what its status is. But in contrast, you already pointed out that a case is in process moving along in the United States. Now, dito ba sa Pilipinas, ano ang burden natin? Para bang, makikisama lang kami, or should there be an effort to reinvestigate these cases or the original case?
Well, ilinaw lang natin, Cito, na magkaiba yung final na rape case sa Davao. Iba yung mga complainants doon. Iba naman yung mga findings ng FBI at mga investigation agencies ng United States. Those crimes were committed in the United States. Yung mga paggamit sa sex ng mga bata doon, pangolekta ng donations, yung pagpasok ng $350,000 na cash sa isang jet. Nahuli kasi lahat yun Sa United States yun. So hindi pwedeng pakialaman ng Department of Justice natin. Ang pwedeng iresolba ng Department of Justice natin yung live case na nasa kanila ngayon. Yung case of rape and sex trafficking na final sa Davao. Magkaiba kasi ito eh. So, kaya nakita natin na mas mabilis yung usad nung sa United States kasi nagsimula ito, kung maalala ninyo, nung nahuli nila yung jet nila na puno ng cash. So, inimbestiga talaga nila ito kasi nga kata-kata yun, and then nalaman nila dun sa kanilang mga investigation involving many agencies in different cities na ganoon nga yung modus operandi daw nila na nagpapapasok ng mga batang Pilipina, mga inaayos ang mga dokumento, tapos nagsosolicit, tapos binibigay sa sekta at ang allegation ng iba, ginagamit pa sila sa sex trade. So, hawak nila mga yan, mga ebidensya. And those crimes were committed in the United States. Kaya, kahit Pilipino ang involved, they had jurisdiction to investigate and file and prosecute. Dito sa atin, wala kasing final na ganyan dito pero merong isang kaso, ngun nga sa Davao, na pending resolution, petition for review, medyo 2 taon na rin sa Department of Justice. So, I suppose, pwede na rin nilang i-resolve kung tama ba ang desisyon ng City Fiscal ng Davao o hindi. Doon ho naman sa extradition, maintindihan din natin na hindi makakagalaw muna ang DOJ sapagkat wala pa tayong natatanggap na request for extradition.
Okay, now here's the question. Kasi yung isang rape case, okay, private party yun. And then yung extradition, that's between the US government and the Philippines regarding a treaty. But what about the Philippine government, as Congresswoman Brosas pointed out, conducting an investigation on whether or not similar or related criminal activities are in fact happening on Philippine soil? Kasi
they can do that.
May connection.
Yeah. They can do that. Lalo na matindi yung ebidensya na nakalap ng US authorities at it involves Filipinos, no? At Congress also, by its plenary power, can investigate practically anything in that crime sapagkat meron naman silang poder to investigate in aid of legislation para ma-improve nila yung mga batas hinggil sa proteksyon ng minor de edad, kababaihan, o yung laundering. Kasi di ba, isang issue yan, yung corruption issue. So Congress has that power na mag-investigate.
Yung laundering na yun, yung $350,000 na nakita sa jet, okay, was that entering the US or leaving the US?
I'm not sure kung palabas o ano, but it was in their possession dun sa kanilang jet. Kaya nga nahuli nila ito diyan nagsimula. Sapagkat under law, $10,000 lang dapat ang hawak-hawak mo $350,000. Doon nagsimula yan. Nung naaresto sila, siguro yung iba nung ini-investigate, nagbigay ng impormasyon, pinagduktong-duktong nila saan ba nanggaling yan. Yung mga donasyon, mga ganon. So, doon nagsimula yung mas malakihang investigation across the United States.
Okay. Congresswoman, following this conversation, what should be the position of Congress? Kasi, you are giving all the budgets for the DOJ, for law enforcement, etc. And I know for a fact that there have been instances in the past when members of Congress took the lead and actually were responsible for sending people to jail for money laundering, for even trafficking, etc. Meron pa nga congressman, di ba, na nakulong because of statutory rape, etc.
Well, ngayon, kailangan first of all, Cito, kailangan umusad sa Kongreso So maganda na po na nagkaroon tayo ng manifestation yesterday about it, sa case na yan. It will be put in the record. Tapos kung magkakaroon po ng House resolution, magigain tayo ng track kung ano at somehow pag-usapan namin sa mga members of Congress, sa aking mga colleagues, kung ano yung pagtingin nila. So ang mahalaga po ngayon, masimulan yung
Paano ba yung for the public's education? what is the process? Okay, this issue has come out in the front pages of the media, of the Philippine Star in particular. Now, what is the process in Congress if people like you are concerned? Oh, teka, this is happening in Philippine soil. We need to do something about it. What is the process in Congress?
First of all, kailangan po ng measure. Kailangan ng House measure. What is the House measure? It is a House resolution or a House bill. So sa House resolution po, ang ilalagay natin, in aid of legislation, investigate natin itong mga cases na ito.
Mhm.
Then, pag na-file na po natin yon, i-read yon sa Congress. Tapos, pag-uusapan namin sa rules kung kailan po ito gagawin or saang committee i-direct. Halimbawa, kung sa Committee on Women and Gender Equality, yun po yung committee na siyang mag-hear ng mga ganitong klase ng cases. Then afterwards, after much hearing, papatawag po yung lahat ng involved. If it involves Apollo Quiboloy, yung mga victims, yung lahat po ng po pwedeng maging resource person nitong case na ito ay padadaluhin. Then we will hear it out. Magkakaroon po ng resolution in the end at yun po ang ipapasa namin. If it would mean na mag-charge o magkaroon ng mga cases na kailangan nating i-file, yun po yung gagawin natin. Ganon din yung excuse me, mga naging process before.
Okay, paano ka, Attorney Cayosa, paano naman si Pastor Apollo Quiboloy? Because I mean, we have to be fair. As the guy said, he was tarred and feathered. And, sabihin mo na lang na 100 ng kaso, baka naman hindi lahat ng 100 guilty siya. Parang, how does he get his day of justice? Or what, as a lawyer, would you advise him to do in the face of all of this?
Well, una, may due process naman, no? Whether in our country or in the United States or any civilized country. So pag nakasuhan ka, di sumagot ka doon, maghain ka ng ebidensya, counter affidavit, at kung gusto mo, pumunta ka doon at sagutin mo mismo, no? And kung aarestuhin ka, you file a petition for bail that the courts will have to decide whether or not they will grant it. So meron naman siya.
But assuming he went there, attorney, pumunta si Pastor Quiboloy doon because he believes that he is innocent, as the driven snow. Inaresto siya. Will he be allowed to post bail as a foreign citizen? Will he be given protection by the Philippines? Parang, okay, hey, bata namin to, sige, appear siya dyan, magde-declaration siya, pauwiin muna natin, tapos kung kailangan nyo, babalik namin siya. Parang ganun. Even with the extradition.
No. Of course, kahit hindi siya citizen ng United States, he will be given the same constitutional right to bail. Ngayon, it is not for him or the prosecution to determine that. Yung korte, entitled ba siya sa bail o hindi? Halimbawa, kung mabigat yung crime, kagaya nito, at ang potential penalty is life imprisonment at mabigat ang ebidensya, maaaring hindi siya bigyan ng bail. At sa jurisdiction ng US, ang mas importante doon, yung risk of flight na pagpakawalan nila, baka pag umuwi sa Pilipinas, hindi na siya babalik pag umuusad yung kaso. So it is for the courts to determine that. Hindi naman kinakailangan na yung gobyerno ng Pilipinas makikialam doon. Sabagat yan it's an offense in US jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So ang ating criminal justice system here and other countries, territorial. Kung saan nangyari yung krimen, yun ang may primary jurisdiction. Kaya haharapin niya doon. The same thing also na haharapin din niya kung ano man ang maging resulta nung rape case na final sa kanya sa Davao.
Okay, we're running out of time, but Congresswoman Brosas, what are the implications of this case if the United States were to file an extradition treaty request, extradition request, at biglang hindi na ibigay si Pastor Quiboloy. Pwede ba yun?
Hindi. Makukompel naman sila eh. Kasi for example, ang DOJ, makukompel sila na makipag-usap. Actually, dapat nga ngayon nakikipag-relate na eh, di ba? It doesn't bar us naman from the Philippines to relate, to have malaman din natin kung ano na inaabot ng investigation doon, makipagtulungan kung paano yung itsura dito sa atin. I remember, I asked ang dating Secretary of Justice before, di ba, si Menardo Guevara, I remember I asked him that nung budget before, kung ano yung nung tinatakal natin yung budget dati, kung ano yung kanilang action. And he was saying na wala namang nagbabar sa atin na makipagtulungan kung mga cases na ganyan, lalo na kung ilalabas na yung extradition treaty.
Okay, so talagang pag lumabas yung extradition, we are forced to comply.
I-clarify ko lang, Cito, ano?
Yes, sir.
Yung DOJ pwede mag-cooperate on its own based on the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty natin sa United States. So, hindi mo kailangan ng request for extradition. Pagdating naman sa request for extradition, ang proseso kasi, pag natanggap yan ng Department of Foreign Affairs, titignan kung kompleto dokumento, i-refer sa DOJ, at yung Department of Justice ang magfa-file ng petition for extradition sa Regional Trial Court. At doon naman susuriin ng korte na sapat ba yung ebidensya na yung kanyang karapatan ba hindi nalalabag at covered ba ito ng mga nasa treaty, at saka siya maglalabas ng extradition order. Ngayon, pwedeng i-apela yan nung akusado dun sa Court of Appeals hanggang Supreme Court. At the end of the day, judiciary ang magdedetermine kung extraditable ba siya o hindi.
Okay, well, at least for all intents and purposes, I think the program has achieved the goal of educating the public regarding this case of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, the extradition, grand jury indictment, etc. I thank you, Congresswoman Arlene Brosas and Attorney Cayosa, for joining us this morning and for your very valuable teachings on the subject.
Thank you, Cito. Thank you. Thank you, Atty. Cayosa.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, yan po, Attorney Domingo Egon Cayosa and Representative Arlene Brosas. Now let's go to our closing blessing for the week. We leave you with this week's blessing. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Ang sagot po dyan, Amen, I name it, I claim it. Thank you, Lord. I'm Cito Beltran. Thanking you for joining us this morning. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News.